Mike, set this up in terms of why Jarrett Allen, however you can, why Jarrett Allen came to your mind. Because I get DeAndre Ayton. We've been talking about him for, like forever.
Well, you're starting to see some rumors that Cleveland might want to move Jarrett Allen. And you're like, why? He's a two-time All-Star. He's arguably the best defensive big man in the NBA. I'm not going to say he is, but he's in the conversation.
Yeah, I would probably argue against that.
Yeah,
but he's up there.
He's very good, right?
He is.
Great rebounder, really good defender. Not much of a scorer. There's not much of scoring options. Obviously, he can dunk a basketball very well. But from about that point on, there's not a ton of offensive ability there. But they don't want Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen on the same team anymore in Cleveland. They felt like part of the reason they lost early on in the playoffs was Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. I believe, was he the third pick in the draft?
Or maybe the second.
He might have been second or third pick from USC as a freshman. He's a really good player.
And that's the thing. I think the potential, and he's not going to get traded.
Right.
I'm just saying, I think that's another reason this move is facilitated, is because the potential for him, I think, is higher than Jarrett Allen.
Yes. And so they see him being more of a future star than Allen, who is, I call him, correct me if I'm wrong, a kind of Tyson Chandler on steroids. And what I mean by that is he's not as tall as Tyson Chandler, or he's bigger or stronger, but I think he's a little bit better than Tyson Chandler. And Tyson Chandler was great for the 1 year that he played for the Dallas Mavericks, and then kind of, I guess, half a season or maybe a whole full season in like 2016 when they got killed by Houston in the playoffs. But I just think that they are both very good options, but very different in that Allen really affects the game by energy, and he affects the game by defense.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton affects the game by being a scorer and I would say a rebounder, but he's not very physical. He's not a high energy player. So they're very different centers, but both very good and would completely upgrade you. Remember this. Dwight Powell has played in, I can't remember, 40-something playoff games. It's right around there. He averages 3 points and 2 rebounds in his 40-something playoff games. So if you're like, I don't really like 18 and 10 from Ayton, that just isn't what I'm looking for. Well, that is 15 more points and 8 more rebounds than the guy that you have to play in clutch minutes, because it's the only human being who's over 6'10", I guess, who you think can play basketball.
And I went back and forth on this, and one of the reasons that I do think they can both fit well in this system because of the skill set they provide. And I mean, I know Ayton would need the ball more than Allen, but I don't think he has to have the ball, much like we've discussed with the issues that you ran into with KP, the issues that you ran into with Kyrie and everything like that, is you brought it up. Jarrett Allen is, like, if you're looking for like a draft comp, I don't know if it's Dariq Whitehead out of Duke in terms of the right now limited offensive scope, but he is what it feels like you would want in this team. He also makes a good deal less money, and he's 3 for 60 left on his deal. And DeAndre Ayton is 3 for 102. And so that's 20 mil for Allen, 34, I almost went way too high, 34 mil per on Ayton. And I think that might be the tipping factor. If it was even, I'm taking Ayton, but that is a big difference. So I'm going Allen.
I do have some things. If you ascribe to the Raptor score from 538, which I asked Reggie, he said he does. So I'll throw that out there. The war, the basketball war for Jokic, 24.2.
I bet that's really high.
I bet that's
second place is 14.
Golly.
In all of the NBA?
All the NBA. Luka is a 13 at 4th. Okay,
yeah, we all know who the real MVP
Jokic is this year specifically. All right. So then I went to look at Jarrett Allen. All right. I want to should I throw the numbers out?
Let's do it
without names and let y'all guess.
Yes.
Offensive Raptor, negative 0.5. The other player, negative 2.4. Defensive Raptor, plus 1.7, negative 0.3. Total, 1.2, negative 2.7. War, 4.9, 0.0. Who do you think is the first player that I was saying that had mostly positive numbers?
See, I think Allen was the one with the negative 2.4 offensive Raptors score, just because
That's what I assume.
he is
too.
exceedingly limited offensively.
Jarrett Allen, ranked defensively, is the 42nd ranked player in the NBA defensively.
Okay.
DeAndre Ayton's 135th. And
That feels right.
the war for 4.9 is Jarrett Allen, and DeAndre Ayton's a 0. So he had all negative numbers.
I have to admit, I'm pretty shocked.
Offensively and defensively. I don't know if that's something that was happening this year specifically, because I didn't look over his career completely. So there are some things that I could definitely look up.
He's been pretty
the last
consistent.
3 years or whatever.
His numbers from 19 years old to 24 years old are about the same, and I think that might be a little bit concerning that he came into the league. And if you remember, a lot of people decided Ayton or Bagley are better than Luka because there's more room to grow. And Ayton really hasn't done anything to grow much of his game. He came into the league, he was 16-10. Right now, he's 18-10. 1.8 assists his rookie year, 1.7 assists his fifth year in the NBA. Like, his numbers are very similar in every category: field goal percentage, free throw percentage, offensive, defensive rebounds. I mean, I think the thing is I don't know how picky the Mavericks can get. I think both teams are looking to move these guys. But you have to remember this as a Mavs fan. You're not trading with a rebuilding team. Cleveland's trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
And so are the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix more desperate than Cleveland because Cleveland just traded for Donovan Mitchell. Now, there's rumors that as soon as he can, he's going to try to get to the New York Knicks. But if you look at Evan Mobley, you look at their team, they're somewhat of a young team. Darius Garland, you look at Phoenix, yes, Devin Booker's a younger guy, but they decided to go all in on Kevin Durant, which gives them maybe a 2-year window if he's healthy enough that they can Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and possibly win a championship. But they're looking to move those guys to get better, not to get worse.
And this question comes up, and it is an interesting question. I think it depends from the 6A2. Curious what the price difference really means. Would it affect the Mavs anyway? What are they going to do with the savings? So it depends on if you move on from Kyrie as well. Like in the Kyrie Ayton scenario, like you're going to find yourself pretty much just right back at square one. If somehow, some way, let's say you did go with Jarrett Allen, for example, and you traded Kyrie in a separate deal for a bunch of expiring contracts, just in this example, then you would be in position to potentially have not a lot, but some money if you went the Allen route versus if you go the Ayton route, you're going to be stuck back in. And then they said, if it's about luxury tax, I don't care. Totally fair. I wonder if Mark Cuban does, but there would have to be a couple things, but I think the price difference could make a difference.
I just saw the article. If you let Kyrie walk, if he signs with another team and you don't sign and trade him, and obviously they're letting Christian Wood walk, but if you let both of those guys walk, you have approximately $25 million to spend on the team, and that's it. So it just, for Mavs fans, if you want to know what happened, you have $25 million to spend if you do not sign any of your players back.
Yeah.
I have a concern about Ayton's desire. Is that in
That's 100%.
Well, that's why Phoenix is trying to move on from him.
And Kevin, I told you, I don't think Jarrett Allen needs the ball to make an impact on game.
Right.
I think DeAndre Ayton might pout because he's one of these guys that he's kind of been pampered and told, you're the best at everything all along the way. Except for, I guess, by Chris Paul, because maybe that's or Booker. I don't know which one.
It's Paul, I think, that obviously just the way Paul turned off DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, I think that DeAndre Ayton has been, somehow mentally shut down by Chris Paul's, I don't know if teaching, coaching, nagging, whatever word you want to use.
And Luka's not the type of guy that's going to beat him down like that, but kind of needs to become that guy at some point.
Would he or wouldn't he? He seems to beat down Christian Wood.
But Christian Wood was like, but I need it.
Well, and it's interesting too because I remember the whole, there was a schism between Ayton and the Suns anyway, but what made it even worse is he was like, well, I'm a max player. And they're like, yeah, you're not. We'll give you I don't remember the exact number, but it wasn't that much less. than the max, and he was like, no, I'm a max player. And then so that's basically, he went out there and
got the max.
Yeah, exactly. Got a different deal from somewhere else, and he's like, I want to go where they think they're a max player. And then they just matched the deal, which I think has led to increased frustration there. Plus, I mean, when they sub him out in games and keep his situations for somebody else, that's going to irritate you even more. I wonder if just Jarrett Allen would be the better fit, even though, I mean, if DeAndre Ayton ever hit like his potential, he has more offensive potential by a mile.
It seems like in both of these trades, you're giving up the 10th pick. Like that starts the trade. And so if you're wondering, well, what gets these guys? It looks like the 10th pick starts the conversation. And then it seemed like, at least from the Cleveland side, some of the rumors is that they would be interested in Maxi Kleber because they would be losing a big guy, but they'd be like, here's what we want to replace it with. Now, I think Maxi's not a good player to spread the court. I don't think he's a natural three-point shooter. That's why he's so bad at times at it, because he's really not a good shooter, but he knows on this team for a while now.
I got to let it fly.
You got to let it fly. You got to practice shooting threes, but he's naturally not good at it. Kind of like Jason Kidd. Now, it took Jason Kidd a long time to finally figure out how to make three-pointers, but I think that they want Maxi Kleber, the 10th pick, and then I don't know what else to fill out the last kind of, let's say, $5 to $8 million. I'm going to assume it might be Josh Green.
I could see.
So it could be 10
that?
Josh Green, Maxi Kleber for Jarrett Allen, or it could be JaVale McGee, Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, and the 10th pick for Ayton. So I don't know if that changes your mind at all. You're probably not getting to salary dump for Jarrett Allen.
I'm good with both of those, actually.
I prefer the salary dump deal more just because it fits more in with my vision of how to build a team, but I don't believe the Mavericks feel that way.